You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as all get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Very glad to be with you. I am back up north. Last week down at EWTN where it was a blistering 50 degrees. I almost had to put on a sweater. And those Irondale, Birmingham people were in parkas and mittens and stocking caps. Not 1, but 2. Well, I'm back up here in Ohio now where yesterday morning was 12 degrees. Snow on the ground. It hasn't budged. Hasn't budged for about 6 days. It's reminding me of when I was a kid. Remember when you were a kid and the temperature got to be about 25 degrees and there were 3 inches of snow? There was 3 inches of snow, and they canceled school. Remember that? Yeah, neither do I. Anyway, thank you. I'm sitting here in the studio where at the flick of a switch, I can make the temperature anything I want. One of the taken-for-granted givens of our blessings. As I sit in here, and that cold out there is foreign. It doesn't touch me. I'm sitting in here. You ever be grateful for that? You ever be thanking the Lord for, geez, I'm sitting inside in shelter with a temperature that I can make anything I want? We take that as a expected, a given, an automatic in our lives. It isn't. For much of human history, they couldn't do that. Shelter was something you really had to find. You had to make, you had to work on, and you had to hope that the elements outside didn't invade you. But I digress. I got off on a bit of a tangent. Let's get to the meat of the program. This is The Doctor Is In. I am the doctor who is in. Not a real doctor, as my 5-year-old son once said. Dad, can you give shots? No. Then I don't think anybody should call you a doctor. I said, thanks, Andrew. Oh, age 5, he's redirecting my insights and thoughts. The program here is a call-in program. You are the callers. I am the callee, the recipient of your calls. Calls come from various directions. Asking something about a situation in your life. I'm a psychologist. That's where I was this morning. I was at the office. This afternoon, I'll head back to the office after this radio program. But for right now, talk a little bit about what's going on in your life. Situations, circumstances. Now, we're not going to do any therapy. We can't do that. But we can put our heads together, see if we can come up with a thought or two. And much of life is just nudging someone in a different direction or the same direction they're in, just giving them a little more momentum. And that has a radical effect. It changes things dramatically. It does. So maybe we can come up with something here to give you some peace, reduce a little bit of fretting, whether it's a kid or adult relationship, young adult relationship, people who are not acting as you'd like them to act. What are you going to do about that, huh? Or if it's a generic question, something that has always puzzled you about psychology or puzzled you about life or maybe even puzzled you about faith. I'll give my best. I'll give my best shot at it. Sometimes people call in because they want to help somebody else on the line. That happens a lot, and that's good. That's good. You get extra credit. You get time off of purgatory. Well, you get something off of purgatory. I don't know if it's time because we don't know exactly how time works after this time-bound journey that we are on. So the number is 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. Now, just an item of business here because I always want to congratulate some of our many affiliates, 400 to 500 of them. Sports Faith International, serving Northern Illinois. That could be up there by Chicago. With 2 stations, 12 years. 12 years on the air in the EWTN network this week. And KYRE 104.1 in Mansfield, Texas. Mansfield, Texas, we have a Mansfield, Ohio here, not about an hour from where I am right now. And they're celebrating 11 years, so congratulations to Angela Tomlinson and her team at Sports Face. Yeah, good, Ray. Good thing you're not getting paid for this. Sports Faith International and Joel Rodriguez and his team at St. Jude Catholic Church from all of us here at EWTN. Congratulations. Now, this was sent to me by the dear woman who, oh, wait a minute, I got to get out of there. Don't want that. Go over to here. I don't know how to, where's my daughter when I need her to help me with this phone? Okay. Sent to me by Janet Clark. Janet, some of you might know, she has been many, many times, especially in the northeastern Ohio area, my role play co-actress in the different things we do on Living Right with Dr. Ray. We usually have an informal role play to try to make some point about life or living. So she sent this to me. A recent, let me preface this. I was watching a sitcom once, and the parent, when talking to the spouse about her desire for her kids, I want them to be happy. I just want them to be happy. At the time, of course, I can't shut my mouth. I make these comments. Probably drives my wife crazy when I do this. I can't just watch it. I got to make psychological comments. I said, happy. So that's in the priorities here. Happy. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I pay attention, how many of the programs that we watch on TV, in some way or another, if the topic comes up, is a parent saying, I just want my kids to be happy. Well, I have been confirmed. Well, not sacramentally just, not meaning just, not only sacramentally, but in my observation. A recent Pew Center study reports that parents want above all else for their children financial independence and a satisfying job. Okay, that's 1 and 2 now. That is 1 and 2. Graduating from college was a distant third. Getting married and having children of their own, according to this article, I like the way they said this, pulled up the rear for a marginal few. Being moral, finding meaning in life, or practicing a religion did not appear on the list of priorities. Now, how is this relevant? Well, when you compare it to other survey data, which basically says that our young people, the Gen Zers and maybe the millennials, have the highest recorded rates of anxiety and depression of any group since surveyed. The article says, with such external and materialistic aspirations for their children, it is not surprising, though it's a sad irony, that these same parents who said now they want financial independence and a satisfying job first and foremost for their kids, getting married way down, and being moral, finding meaning in life, religion, not even showing up on the radar. It is no surprising, though it's a sad irony, that these same parents reported they are most worried about their children's mental health. This is an interesting suggestion by a psychologist. The guy's name is Darby Saxby. He writes this. Boy, this is really bad for the gentle parenting folk. Quote, parents should ignore their children more often. Now, this makes for a ear-catching phrase, but here's what he means. Not so much the kids should be ignored as being decentered. Oh, by the way, sorry about that, Darby. Darby is female. She argues that today's frantic, child-centered, helicopter parenting is, quote, based on assumptions about what our children need to thrive that are not supported by evidence from most of human history. Until the last few decades, parents practiced what she calls, quote, mindful underparenting, end quote. Now, this allows kids to, quote, spend lots of time with their parents, but not usually as the parent's primary focus. Sometimes bored, sometimes engaged. I'm quoting her now. These kids spend much of their time observing adults doing adult things. Now, this is a shocker, and I can see this. She says, quote, your average daycare is probably closer to the average historical childhood experience than today's overstimulated boy or girl at the center of attention. Woohoo. Okay, I wish you'd get in trouble with this kind of stuff. Let's see if there's anything else she says. It's, okay, they go on to talk about how kids observe us, and we are still the greatest influence. It says here, the good news is that among all possible influence, parents exert far and away the greatest influence on their children's religious outcomes. Well, I'd got to clarify that. I'd like to qualify it. If they so intentionally do, they can exert the greatest possible influence. All right, there you go. There's a lot more she says, but let's leave it at that. And by the way, just as a P.S. here, my second book was a book called Back to the Family, and we interviewed strong families, all 50 states. We were talking about spending time with your kids, and one mother observed, she said, children need boring time. They need to have time just to look at stuff, not the computer screen, like outside stuff, and curiosity stuff. They need time. I one time said this to a priest from Africa. We were talking about raising kids, and I said a lot of parents hear from their children that I'm bored. He looked at me puzzled. He said, What is that word? I said, bored? He says, yes. I said, well, it means kind of like you don't really have anything to do. And then he said, how could you not have anything to do? They did not have a word in his language, in his tribal language, for boring. Interesting, isn't it? 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. Dr. Ray, thank you for joining me.
This program is brought to you by the following nonprofit underwriter.
Are you longing to hear God's voice? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian Prayer Series will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking, and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
The Wine Palace in Livonia is a proud sponsor of Ave Maria Radio. The Wine Palace is a family-owned business for over 60 years where customers come in for a great service. The 9,000 square foot store includes a humidor, specialty wine room, and a rare and collectible spirits room. We have the largest selection of spirits in the state at the most competitive prices. Ask for one of the brothers, Cliff or Kelly, and thank them for their strong support of Catholic radio. Delivery is available. Please visit the Wine Palace at I-96 in Middlebelt or at winepalacemi.com.
This week on Christ is the Answer, Father John talks about our inviolable dignity. Created in the image of God, each and every human person has an inviolable dignity. But what exactly does this mean? And what does it entail? And what do we receive because of it? Join us this week as Father John shows us how to see others through the lens of Jesus, as well as talking about the 4 goods of marriage. Tune in for Christ is the Answer, Monday through Fridays at 11 a.m. on Ave Maria Radio.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at avemaria.com. That's avemaria.com.
Okay, get to your calls here in a second as you are patiently waiting. Had a situation yesterday, kind of shook me up a little bit. I was looking at the paper, and I noticed a story about this beautiful actress who was engaged to this sports figure known for his ridiculous acting out his penchant for fighting, his dumbness. And I said, man, I'll never understand why some of the biggest jerks get the most attractive women. I said that to my wife. And she just smiled at me and said, well, thank you, Ray. Not exactly what I was expecting there. Rob from Pittsburgh. He's a pa. Well, Pittsburgh, PA. Okay, got it. Hey, Rob.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, sir. Doesn't sound like you might not be quite as okay as I am.
Well, yeah, both me and the mother, yeah, in a bad way right now.
How old's your daughter?
27.
27. Is this the first time she's expressed same-sex attraction?
We don't even know that she's expressing it. She's now buddying up with somebody that, is a lesbian, and she's had issues in the past with anxiety. So she's dated boys, on and off, and all good, nothing bad. Went to college. Again, anxiety starts to build up. She gets on the Prozac. I kind of blow up. Don't want her to do this. Want her to seek alternative methods. So it's a big family conflict, but she goes ahead and does the Prozac, goes to college, has some issues with roommates, in and out. Don't like this roommate, don't like that roommate. Goes on to med school, moves to Philadelphia, meets up with, several different people, has a problem with those roommates, moves in with her boyfriend. Again, another fight. Don't like the situation. I told her, listen, why don't you get married if you want to live with this person and you love him? Long story short, she's now a resident. She breaks up with a boyfriend, and she's kind of buddied up with this girl who is obviously a lesbian. She's told us she's a lesbian. Our daughter is more or less really left thinking. We're center right.
Well, I'm surprised she hasn't written you off yet.
She does a lot with her mother. It's worse with the mother than it is with me. She kind of has. We talk, but she kind of blamed me early on for a lot of her anxiety, and I said, "Listen, you'll never blame me again. I'm not going to bring anxiety to anybody, especially in her early years of college. We couldn't deal with that. She's
probably saying, Rob, is that she doesn't like you giving her advice that goes against what she wants to do. So that makes her upset.
Yep.
Well, I would
So
suggest you don't say anything to her. Don't give her any advice. You don't want to hear it.
Well, we've tried that, but now, we're hearing that she's, going out to dinner with this girl. She's, meeting up with other friends with this girl.
Is it safe to say that because she's bounced around in her life contentment, if you were to graph it, it'd just be up and down, spikes and valleys. So now she's looking in a different direction, maybe, for her contentment, and she thinks this same-sex relationship could be the answer. Is it safe to say that?
That's what we're worried about, yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Well, you could ask her about it. You could say, I know you're spending a lot of time with this woman. Does that mean anything regarding your own physical attraction to her? Now, my guess would be, even if you just do it that delicately, you're going to get blasted. Am I wrong?
Agree.
Okay.
No, you're exactly right.
Okay.
That's right.
You could say, if you want, well, I noticed you've been spending a lot of time with her. What does that mean? Well, she's just a friend, Dad. She's just a friend. She's just somebody I like being with, and she's somebody I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. So, translation, Dad, shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
If you get hit that quickly with defensiveness, then you're pretty smart just to back off. Just to back off, because she's probably looking at this as maybe, and I can't speculate, I don't know what's in her head, but I see it a fair amount, as an answer to her vacillating discontent kind of thing. So, as a result, if you're trying to, quote-unquote, persuade her away from this relationship, you're going to have to get a sense of a little bit how quickly she's going to react with hostility for you even given any kind of opinion. Now, here's the thing. If you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, don't I have a moral obligation to try to straighten out her thinking? Because she was raised differently than this.
That's exactly
I guess
right.
my answer to that would be you raised her, Rob. You raised her for 20 years. She knows where you stand on this. That's why you were going to get the defensiveness, because she knows where you stand. It's not a matter of, oh, well, I want to hear what Dad has to say, because I know that if I make a good case, he's going to understand and accept. She doesn't think that. She thinks there is absolutely no way, if this is a same-sex attract relationship, you're going to be pleased at all with it. She knows that. So probably the safest angle you or your wife can take is, I know you've been spending a lot of time with her. Does this mean something from a romance perspective? Now, I think there's about a 6% chance you're going to get a fair hearing or an answer. I think there's a heavy chance that you're going to immediately get, what are you saying, Dad? What are you saying, Dad? You're going to tell me I can't do this when I'm 27 years old? I can't do what I want? Or something along those lines. I'm not her exact words, but that's the tone I would think. Now, you know your daughter. Am I wrong?
No, that's right. I mean, I guess the fear would be if she comes back and says, what if there is? Why is it any of your business?
And she's, in a perverse sort of way, she's right. She's 27. If she chooses to live that way and neglect the way she was raised, there isn't much about it you can do now if she doesn't want to let you even offer alternative thoughts on this. There's your problem.
That's not going to sit well with her mother or me.
Well, the problem is, and you said it earlier, you said she gives a lot more hassle to her mother. And that's because I got a feeling mother gives more opinions that aren't asked for, and the daughter doesn't want to hear it. Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I know, my friend. I know. Sometimes you just have to accept your helplessness. You could take a run at it. Not saying don't, but brace yourself for what you could hear, because it's likely she's not likely. I don't know, but it's possible. She's looking at this as an answer to her anxiety and her emotional problems, whatever they might be. You know, there is a component to this. I'll get to your calls here in a second. Thank you for your patience. There is a component here for us parents with our adult children that on probably our primary motive is we certainly care about their souls. And we do not want them to enter a style in their life that could possibly jeopardize their souls. We can't make that judgment, but we're fearing for them. And that's probably the main motive. But motives are not usually uniform. In other words, they're complex. And another motive might be that this child of mine, who is now an adult, has strayed from everything I tried to do to pass on the faith to her. And the fact that that's happening is distressing me terribly. So I've got to find some way to reach them with what they're doing. There's got to be a key. Well, here's something I've learned as a psychologist. If somebody wants to do what they want to do and they are impervious to persuasion and logic and reason and morality and money, in the words of Kenny Rogers and the Gambler, sometimes you got to know when to fold them. All right, let's go to Sarah from New York. Her husband has AFib, which is atrial fibrillation. That's what it means. And essentially, the heart is not beating regularly. It's fluttering. It's fluttering. And it can dramatically raises the chances of a stroke because a blood clot can form way up there and then be moved all the way out and about. And AFib, much of the time, is very correctable. They will do something called a cardiovert. I am not a doctor, by the way. I just know these things. They will do something called a cardiovert, which essentially zaps the heart back into what they call sinus rhythm, which is regular rhythm. So Sarah's husband, she says he has AFib. It sounds like he had AFib because the doctors say he is now fine. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Yeah, my husband had AFib. He had the cardioversion and ablation. Everything went well. We took him in for a visit about a month ago. He had good results. The heart rate was good. Everything was good. The doctor says, I don't want to see you for like 6 months because he was going regularly for 3 months. But he still complains. Like, he's very anxious now. I've never seen him like this before. He can't handle any paperwork. He gives him all the work that he used to do. He can't, like, we're both retired. He gives me all his paperwork. The slightest pressure freaks him out. Like, when he has to update his credit cards, he calls my son to do it. Like, he can't do anything right now. Like, everything is just, he overburdens me. And he's acting more like a child. Like, today I said something early in the morning. He, like, kind of almost jumped up and down like he was having a temper tantrum. Like, it was weird.
Can I ask how old your husband is?
73.
Okay. Is this the first time he's ever had what he would consider a threatening health problem?
Yes.
So do you think that for him, he is now faced with the reality that he's getting older and things can go wrong? And he's translating that into, I'm just not motivated to do anything because what does that matter?
Yes, because he said I was walking, did power walks every day, twice a day, up until recently, to like a year and a half ago, and now I'm like, I can't do anything. But I said, you're still walking around with no, you're quite quick when you go up and down the steps. And I kind of encouraged him to walk farther around in the neighborhood, and he's doing that, but he's still kind of almost like a cripple, a mental cripple.
Well, I think what you're dealing with, and you can ask him this, Sarah, you can say, are you scared because you think now that's the first sign of impending death? that you thought you were just perfectly fine up to then, and life was going to go on without any kind of hiccup, and now you had a health problem, which, thank God, modern medicine fixed. So in your mind, that's just a sign that you're failing, that you're just, now you're damaged goods. That's what I would say to him. There is a woman, I doggone forget her name. I can't believe this because she's fascinating. There is a guy named Dr. Peter Attia. I think it's spelled Attia. He is a researcher. He's a surgeon. He's an enormously popular podcast. And he talks about lifespan and health span. How to live healthy well into your 70s and 80s, even 90s, and the things it can do. And I listen to him constantly. My wife does. Is very research-based. Maybe, and he's got dozens of podcasts. You can search him and you can see which ones he's focused on a healthy lifespan into your 70s and 80s.
Right.
Maybe your husband would listen to this and realize, there are some basic things I can do that can really dramatically improve not only my outlook, but my actual physical abilities. It sounds to me like he's struggling with this whole idea of I'm mortal. Now, I never thought I was mortal before, and now I think I'm mortal. And so why should I mow the lawn? What does it matter? The lawn grass is going to grow anyway.
Right.
That kind of thing. Everything that mattered to him in leading his life is now useless because it's all going to come to an end anyway. I mean, that's kind of the fatalistic attitude he's taken. If you want to get him to a psychologist, because that was your question here, if you can get him to do it, but I don't know if he would.
Well, he is talking once a week to a licensed social worker, and whenever he talks to him, he's been talking to him for like a year and a half now, a little over a year, I would say, a year and 4 months. He seems like he's a little better that day, but then he goes back again the next day, like so quickly.
Mm-hmm. And that's the secret to therapy. That's the secret to therapy, Sarah. You could talk forever to somebody, and if you don't translate what you're talking about in that office out into the real world, you could stay there for 20 years. So what?
Right.
So it seems like
he's not really making
he's not making the effort. He's locked into this. And maybe you could approach it from the angle of, hey, I'm your wife, and for all of our lives, I've looked up to you and leaned on you as my rock, and I still want to do that.
Right.
I'm sorry to hear this. Go ahead, dear.
Right,
Go ahead.
and you mentioned this Dr. Peter Attia, Attia. He has current podcasts, or is this like old recorded podcasts?
No, he's very currently podcasting. Just enormous range of stuff on health, well-being, diagnoses. Oh, yeah, just a lot of stuff. Heart health, everything. Sure. It's good stuff. Thank you for the call, Sarah. And those of you waiting patiently, thank you. Oh, man, I got some good stuff up there, and I want to get to you right away quick. I'm going to probably save you from a birthday party there, Judy. In the old days, when you wanted to ignore somebody, they didn't even know you were ignoring them unless they came in contact with you, right? I'm not talking to my sister. Does she know that? Well, she will the next time we have a chance to come in contact. Nowadays, man, you can block anybody at any time. You simply say, I blocked them. There. Shut them off. And they know it immediately. Or at least until they connect with you on the internet. I noticed that. Back in the old days, ignoring somebody took a lot more effort. It's easy now. I just push this little button there, and you're gone from my life. Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fine, honey. I'm going to probably save you some money.
No, I don't need anything like that. I just wanted an opinion from you.
Well, my opinion will probably save you the money.
I have to kind of start when I was little. I was 2 years old, and I had bilateral hip replacement, and my sister was like 3 years older. And because of that, I was in the hospital for 9 months, and then when I got home, everybody had to kind of take care of me. So anyways, I think my sister developed some kind of a selfish image because everybody in my family doesn't even really like talking to her. But I want to call her because I think I understand what her problem is. But anyways, now
she isn't gonna like that you think you understand what her problem is. Just know that.
I don't tell her that. No.
Okay, good. You're smart.
And so now she has a problem with her kids. Well, she was not having a problem with her oldest daughter, and now the father, they separated or got a divorce, and the younger one is taking care of the father. So she didn't want to have anything to do with her. And yet I don't have a problem with her. She's really a sweetheart.
Okay.
And anyways, I didn't tell her I was going to a wine tasting contest, but they took a picture and my sister saw it and yelled at me because I went. So now, Thanksgiving, I did tell her. I said, I'm going to Sarah's for Thanksgiving. That's
oh, you did it. You did it, Judy. How dare you like somebody she's not talking to?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Judy,
to do.
this is no surprise, is it? When you first called,
not really.
You said your sister doesn't talk to half her siblings, if not all of them, and now she's not talking to her own kids. So this seems to be her style, right? I just keep writing people off left and right.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
If you want to stay in her good graces, you're probably going to have to do every single thing she wants you to do immediately and celebrate it.
I see.
If not, you're going to be just another one of those people that your sister says, get out of my life. Now, I understand she's already blocked you, right?
She hasn't called me, right. I called her after Thanksgiving, and she never called me back, and I called her a couple of times and still not picked up the phone, and so I said, forget it. But her birthday's coming up, and I'm feeling guilty that I'm the only one who calls her. And I'm like, oh, God, should I send her a card anyway?
Hey, Judy, you're the only one who calls her, and you're the one she's willing to say, you too, leave me alone. You think a little bit.
Do that too?
Yeah, well, you think a little bit she'd appreciate the one sister who reaches out to her, but it's like, no, you are not allowed to talk to my daughter because my daughter is doing something I absolutely disagree with. So you are tarred with the same brush. If you want to assuage your guilt, but yet at the same time respect the fact that your sister says, "Get away from me," at least for now.
Yeah.
Send her a card. Say, I'm wishing you a very happy birthday. Hope everything is well for you. And that's it. I probably wouldn't call. You've already called.
Good.
You've already called 3 times, and she's not wanting to talk to you.
Right. So, okay. That's what I needed to hear, because I'm like, I'm the only one who calls her. She'll have nobody to me.
Well,
and I have this guilt from being little, so I didn't know what to do.
You can't have guilt when somebody doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you keep pounding away at her, you're probably just making her madder. Leave me alone.
No, I have been just letting it go. I have been, but I just was thinking, what should I do? Because I didn't want to.
Well, you got Christmas coming up, too. What are you going to do then? You going to buy her a red Corvette? What are you going to do?
I was going to buy her a Corvette. How did you know that?
Me. I used one, a 1968, my dream car of all time.
Oh.
Corvette Stingray.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
My God, sounds nice.
Yeah, I'd have to sell my house to buy it.
Oh, geez.
All righty, my dear. God, don't be guilty. Come on. When somebody says
I know.
Somebody says to you, look, I don't want to talk to you now. And I don't know how long she's going to go like this. But, hey, okay, here's a good prediction. How long has she gone like this with other people? Years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That gives you a possible timeline.
She wasn't talking to my mother for a while, too.
Oh,
years.
Look at this. She doesn't talk to her mother. She doesn't talk to her daughter. She's divorced from her husband. She doesn't talk to her siblings. Do you realize how unhappy she must be as a person?
That's why to be honest, that's why I feel awful for her.
Well, you do, and that's a fair emotion, and it should stimulate a fair amount of prayer for her. Dear Lord, please give her some peace, because anybody who's writing people off left and right, now I don't know your sister, but I'm going to make this general observation. Anybody who's writing people off left and right is miserable in their life, and they're not looking at themselves as a player in all of this, because they're the most consistent player in all of these severed relationships.
Yep.
All right, love.
You think someday she'll see her way? I don't know.
Do I? I don't know your sister, but if you're just asking me generically about people who do this and are older, no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, love.
So,
see ya.
You take care of yourself.
Thank you, Judy. I won't write you off. You can call any time. I'll pick up your phone. I'll pick it up.
Oh, thank you.
Heck yeah, come on.
God bless.
All right, hon, bye. I don't know of anybody I've written out of my life. I couldn't do that. I mean, if there's people who would say to me, I don't want to have anything to do either, that's their decision. If they do that, I don't think I have anybody in my life like that. But I've never written anybody out of my life. Well, Andrew Kruchek. Yeah, Andrew, did I write you out there for a couple of days when I wasn't on the air? Did you hear from me? Okay, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't hear from me. So he counted that as me writing him off. All right. I'll get right back to you. I'm Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Someone once said, if you think it, ink it. Don't let those great ideas fade or be forgotten. I used to carry around a little notebook and write my ideas down. I once heard of a movie producer who used to write ideas on napkins while at lunch meetings. Today, with our smartphones, we can keep notes electronically and on voice recorders. I pray and discern to determine if the ideas are from God and His messengers like our guardian angels. I call on the Holy Spirit all the time to guide my thoughts, and I pray before writing, including writing these daily motivationals. Whether you're using the old-fashioned pen and paper or a smartphone, keep track of the ideas that pop in your head. Many of these daily communication messages came to me while driving in my car or while grocery shopping. God speaks to us all the time, so be prepared to write the ideas down. Take these messages to prayer. You never know when the Lord will have something to say. This has been a Christ-centered communication message. I'm Vanessa Denhagarmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
We are the pro-life generation, passionate about building the culture of life in our healthcare and in our nation. But not all healthcare options are equally pro-life, and some provide morally objectionable procedures. CMF Curo is different. CMF Curo is a pro-life Catholic healthcare ministry providing a pathway for its members to build the culture of life in their healthcare choices, not destroy it. Learn more about CMF Curo at mycatholichealthcare.com. That's mycatholichealthcare.com.
Okay, let's see if I can handle these calls quickly enough. Kathy has a comment regarding our caller whose husband had AFib, atrial fibrillation. Hi, Kathy.
Hello
there.
Dr. Ray.
Thank you for the call, dear.
I'm a nurse and I do home care. I have seen a lot of cardiac patients. And one thing that might help this gentleman, if they can get the cardiologist to refer her husband to cardiac rehab, where specially trained PT and OT people can work with him and kind of direct him in a gradual exercise program, getting him moving again, gaining some strength. And oftentimes when suggestions come from somebody other than the spouse and they come from a professional, sometimes the patient is more receptive. So a referral from the cardiologist to outpatient cardiac rehab might be helpful, and if the referral is appropriate, then it would be covered by Medicare, 100%.
Kathy, your option is a very good one. The couple of issues there is that, one, he's been given a clean bill of health, so that's one. What you seem to be suggesting is some kind of structured. I went through cardiac rehab for an operation I had about a year ago. You seem to be giving him some kind of structured strength building, wind building, and all of that. It sounds like if he goes there, it would almost be a placebo effect for him because he's already functioning physically. It's mentally that he's shutting down. And what you're saying is, well, if we can get him to feel like he's being told you're progressing, you're fine, you're gaining strength, etc., it may alter his mindset, which I think is a great suggestion. Hopefully, his wife can persuade him to do that, at least to go back to the doctor. But you're right. I was in cardiac rehab. I cut it in half. They had me take the post test, and they said I set the record. And so I just quit. I said, okay. They had me scheduled for like 30 visits. I did 15 and moved on. But thank you, Kathy. Thank you for your expertise.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, dear. Thank you. Okay, anonymous caller from Wisconsin. College-age daughter's got a guy who wants to be her boyfriend. However, he's not Catholic. He's Christian, at least what he proclaims. And mom is saying, okay, so what do we do? Are we going to talk to my daughter about this? Is she going to talk to us? Hi, Mom. Hello there, Mom. Mom, come to the phone. Don't ignore me. I'll take it personal. I bet she did. I bet she put the phone down. Oh, the dog didn't. The dog's right there. She hung up. Was it something I said? Is it another radio host? Oh, man. I think she might have pushed the wrong button. It's easy to do with us older folks when we got these phones in front of us that don't have dials. All righty. So I wanted to take care of all the calls here. Because typically when you get toward the end of the program, people don't call because most of the time anyway, they figure, well, I'm not going to get on. So he's probably got other folks to talk to. And I felt good. I handled all those. Now I had Maria from Montana who didn't stay on. Her question was how to wean kids off technology. Well, it's like quitting cigarette. Okay, we got her. Okay, a lot less time here. Mom, you still there? Hello there. She's having trouble with her phone. She must. So Maria says, how do you wean kids off technology? It's kind of like quitting smoking. They used to say, well, you wean yourself from smoking. They now realize, no, you don't wean yourself from smoking. You quit. You have to quit. You try to wean yourself, all you're doing is resurging the desire, the addiction. Same thing with technology. A lot of parents get to the point where they say, uh-oh, I thought this was going to stay in balance, and it hasn't. Of course it hasn't. This stuff is designed by the best people in the world to grab our kids by the throats and say, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Be stimulated. Video cocaine. Take another shot. And what happens is almost invariably, I would say 90+% of the time, kids who immerse themselves in technology via a smartphone especially move further into it. They don't say, you know what, I'm done with the smartphone. I kind of spending too much time on it. No, there's some that do that, and maybe they do it as they get older, more demands maybe, but by and large, you're talking a teenager or an adolescent, No, the parent's going to have to step in. Now, when the parent does that, a nuclear warhead goes off. Many parents, if not most, will say, I cannot believe the intensity of his reaction. It's like nothing I've ever seen. I would have gotten less resistance if I'd have said, give me your kidney. I still got another one, but I don't have another smartphone until my friends give me one tomorrow because you're a Neanderthal throwback. So I would say, Mom, weaning might not be the best way to go, and if you're going to decide to do this, you're going to have to decide, okay, I'm going to put a limit on it. If that's what you mean by weaning, maybe put a limit on it. But then, get ready. Brace yourself for the tsunami of resistance. Thanks, Andrew Kruchek. Thanks, Eric Dumont. And I thank most of all you folks who make this show happen. Without you, no show. So walk with God. Now that's something you don't ever want to wean yourself from.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.